The world watched as Aryna Sabalenka walked off the clay at Roland Garros, tears streaking her face after a dramatic and bruising French Open final against Coco Gauff for 2 hours. Every rally and point felt heavy with meaning. What happened next set off a firestorm of debate. Sabalenka's emotional comments after her loss sparked outrage, sharp criticism, and soon a headline making apology. Her words hit hard. But her apology hit even harder, challenging players and fans to think deeply about sportsmanship under the brightest lights. Here's a close look at the match, the controversy it gave rise to, and why it really matters for the future of tennis. The French Open final. High stakes and raw emotions. Roland Garros finals are rarely dull, but the 2025 showdown between Aryna Sabalenka and Coco Gauff managed to be both spectacular and deeply personal. Sabalenka's performance and pressure. Sabalenka arrived at the French Open as the world know, one and, on paper, the favorite. She was hunting for her fourth Grand Slam title and seemed poised for greatness. Instead, she found herself in a nightmare on clay, over 3-10 sets. Sabalenka racked up a staggering 70 and forced errors the highest of the tournament. The wind whipped across Felipe Chatrier court, swirling red dust, testing nerves and control. As balls skidded and bounced unpredictably, Sabalenka struggled to find her rhythm. She missed easy forehands. She double-faulted. Her powerful serve, usually a weapon, became unreliable. She later said in press interviews that the wind ruined her game and called it the worst final she'd played, with Grand Slam title on the line. Expectations and nerves collided. When Sabalenka's shots misfired, she didn't just lose points, she lost composure. The pressure seemed to squeeze every ounce of confidence out of her game. Gauff's resilience and breakthrough, while Sabalenka wrestled with herself. Coco Gauff played with a clarity and calm that belied her years. Even as the crowd swayed and the wind picked up, Gauff stuck to her plan. She chased down every ball, forced errors, and capitalized on every shaky Sabalenka service game. Key moments swung the match. Gauff saved set points, then snatched the tie-break. In the final set, she broke Sabalenka's serve with clean winners and locked in mentally when it mattered most. The trophy wasn't handed to her. She earned every shot, every cheer, every tear at the net. Gauff's poise helped her shut out the drama. Amid distractions, she showcased the grit of a champion. Controversial comments and swift backlash. The post-match tension didn't fade with the final ace. Instead, Sabalenka's words set the tennis world off. What Sabalenka said after the match. Minutes after shaking hands, Sabalenka faced the press. Still raw from defeat, her comments ran hot. She pinned blame squarely on external factors, saying, "The wind was impossible. I made so many mistakes. This was the worst final I've played." She deflected credit from Gauff, implying that if she had overcome Swiatek in the semis, I would have beaten Gauff. No question. While frustration is normal after a tough loss. Her tone crossed a line. She didn't acknowledge Gauff's superior play, instead suggesting that only her own failings or the weather mattered. Such statements hit the headlines with force. Public and media reaction. Fans and pundits pounced. Social media erupted with criticism, accusing Sabalenka of disrespect and poor sportsmanship. Tennis writers pointed to her tone-deaf remarks as an example of what top athletes should avoid. Fellow players weighed in. Some called for more professionalism from the world know, one, while others shared stories of how hard it is to hold emotions in check after a big loss. But the consensus was clear. Many believed Sabalenka's words diminished Gauff's moment and eroded her own reputation. Within hours, Sabalenka's name trended for the wrong reasons. Her conduct became a lightning rod for debate about mental strength, humility, and what losing with grace should look like. Sabalenka's apology, a step toward growth. Recognizing the storm she'd created, Sabalenka moved fast to make things right not only in public, but directly with Gauff. The message to Coco Gauff in what she later called a completely unprofessional moment. Sabalenka admitted regret. She wrote a private apology to Gauff, explaining that her outburst wasn't about disrespect, but about being overwhelmed by emotion and disappointment. Sabalenka's letter to Gauff made one thing clear: "You absolutely deserve to win the tournament, and I respect you." She apologized for letting frustration overshadow the respect she has for Gauff's performance. This gesture showed vulnerability and a willingness to own up to mistakes. Gauff responded with grace, accepting the apology and even noting that everyone can lose their cool after big matches. The exchange between the two sent a powerful message. Respect matters more than rankings or trophies. Lessons in sportsmanship and pressure. This episode forced Sabalenka to take a hard look at her own mindset. She spoke openly about her ongoing battle to handle pressure and emotions, revealing that this isn't the first time nerves and frustration have gotten the better of her for fans and young players. The story was both cautionary and inspiring. In tennis, the spotlight can be unkind, but how a champion responds to mistakes can mean just as much as any victory. Sabalenka's apology showed growth, not only for herself but for the sport. It reminded everyone watching that accountability is as important as skill, and that real champions admit when they're wrong. Tennis is as much about character as it is about talent. Sabalenka's angry words after losing to Coco Gauff sent shockwaves through the sport. But her heartfelt apology rippled just as far. Coco Gauff lifted the Roland Garros trophy with pride and, perhaps more importantly, with the respect of her toughest rival. Sabalenka's journey through error, reflection, and apology showed that even the strongest can stumble. What matters is how you stand up again. For fans, this story goes beyond the scoreboard. It's about learning, forgiving, and respecting the fight that every match demands as women's tennis moves forward. The lessons of the 2025 French Open echo loud. Skill wins titles, but character leaves a legacy.